Hello, welcome to my channel. Another bibliophile reads. My name is Greg, and I'm doing the science fiction movie BookTube tag. It was created by Man with a Hat Who Reads. His name is Matthew. As of today, he only had 206 subscribers, and this is his first original tag. So let's see if we can get him a few more subscribers, because this is an interesting tag. I was tagged by MJ this morning, and I know I am behind in some other tags. I've been not feeling like making much recently, but I saw the tag this morning and said, yeah, I want to do this one. So here we go. There are going to be 8 prompts. The 8th is just tag some other people. It's only 7 questions, really easy. And there are just one rule. There is one rule. You cannot use the movie, which a quote comes from, in picking your book, because all these prompts are based on a movie quote, a science fiction movie. And that'll give you sort of a hint of what sort of books we're looking for. So anyway, let's get down to these prompts. Prompt number 1, Welcome to Earth from Independence Day, a novel about an alien invasion. I saw Independence Day in the movie theater the night before I got married with my best man. It was an okay movie. So what is my movie about alien invasion? The Body Snatchers by Jack Finney, originally published in 1954. And this is a really good alien invasion story. Most people know a little bit about the plot. It is about seeds that come to Earth, alien seeds that can mimic people, mimic their voices once they grow, mimic their memories, but it's not a perfect mimicry. There's a subtle difference. And a woman goes to a doctor and she says, "Doctor, there's something wrong with my husband." Or is it her brother? I can't remember that. And the doctor says, "You're crazy, lady." But he's a good doctor. He goes, investigates, and goes, "There's something wrong with that man." At that point, they don't know that there are alien pods taking over people. And it grows from there. And this is very much a book from the 50s. Although on the surface, this is a book about an alien invasion. You're going to have to apologize. That's down to the background. I dropped a pen on the floor, and my cat has decided it is a cat toy. Well, anyway, it is on the surface about an alien invasion, but it's really about the Red Scare. This is about communism. This is about worried about, is your neighbor a communist? And you don't know, because communism is out to destroy the free world. And you're not sure who is a communist or who is not a communist. And in this book is who is a pod person and who is not a pod person. And I really enjoyed this book. Now, you will also see this book published as The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That is a slightly revised version of the Body Snatchers. In 1970s, they made a remake of the movie. And they updated the book a little bit, because the original book, I said, was written in 1954, and they wanted to update it for the 70s. And so the characters who were smoking cigarettes in this book no longer smoke cigarettes. And the characters who were described as Negroes are now described as African-American. You know, that sort of thing. The kind of cars people drive are updated. Go find an original copy of The Body Snatchers if you can. The Kindle version and the audio version are all the modernized version. But do pick it up. It is really a good alien invasion story. And by the way, the 1970s version movie of this has the best movie ending ever. Well, maybe not the best. It's duking it out with Chinatown for the best movie ending. Just a side note. Prompt number 2. Life Finds a Way, Jurassic Park, a novel where science runs amok. Again, I saw the original Jurassic Park in the movie theater. I have only seen that movie once. I never thought it was worth watching twice. I also read the book. And this one is where science runs amok. And I had a little bit of a trouble thinking about this. But eventually I came up with a series of 4 books. Otherland, The City of Golden Shadow, River of Blue Fire, Mountains of Black Glass, and Sea of Silver Light. They're by Tad Williams. Tad Williams is mostly known as a fantasy author, but this is his work of science fiction, and it's a good one. It was originally published in 1998, 1999, 2000, and 2002. It is the story of Earth in the future where virtual reality is something you can live every day. And this is not an imperfect virtual reality. This is a virtual reality that's nearly indistinguishable from real life. And let's just say a lot of people hang out in this virtual reality. But there are issues, there are problems, something is going on. And I find it interesting because when I first read this book, there was no such thing as smartphones, and you were not so obsessed with the internet. And now we are totally obsessed with the internet. It becomes part of our daily lives that we have to look at our phones all the time. And what would it be like if this virtual reality were a reality? Would I be hanging out in that virtual reality all the time? I'm getting old. And when you're in this book, you don't know how old some of the people are because you're mostly living and reading about the virtual realities. And I find that very fascinating because it is a technology that is running amok. And I was really fascinated when I originally read these. Prompt number 3. May the odds be in your favor. The Hunger Games, a novel about a dystopian Earth. I read the first novel of the Hunger Games. I thought it was a total turkey. So now I have to figure out about a dystopian book. When I saw the video that Matthew did, he sort of included post-apocalyptic in this. So I could have picked Day of the Triffids, but I created my list before watching his video. So I'm going to stick with my original choice, and I'm going to stick with a true dystopian book. Now, in my book, dystopian novels are not teenagers saving the world from villains. Dystopians are bleak. They are based somewhat in reality. And the one I am picking is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This is a near perfect vision of what life would be like under a repressive religious regime that is very much hell-bent on controlling women's reproductive rights. And we are getting close to that in the United States. Well, how close is open to debate, but there are certainly people in this country who want to control the rights of women and what they do with their reproductivity. So again, a fabulous book. They did make it into a television series, and the first year of the television series was, well, it was okay. And that covered the original novel, and they should have ended there. The ending of The Handmaid's Tale is a near perfect ending for a novel, especially a dystopian novel. And the rest of the television series just went off on Perils of Pauline, Hooray for the Woman Taken Down the Evil Regime, which, well, not quite as bad as Teenagers Taking Down a Regime, just wasn't very good. Stick to the original novel. You can totally forget the sequel, The Testimonies. That was just another turkey of a book. Prompt number 4. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Star Wars, a novel about robots. I had trouble with this one. For whatever reason, I just don't read a lot of books about robots, or at least I don't remember them very well. Had this issue when we did the New Worlds November science fiction group last year. But the books I decided on, it is published in 2 volumes, but it's really one large story. It's Ilium and Olympus by Dan Simmons. Dan Simmons has written Hyperion, Cantos, which is one of the greatest science fiction series ever written. This one is still very good. It may not hold up quite to Hyperion's legendary status, but it's excellent. But this is a story set in the future on Mars, and the Trojan War is being fought again. Not real Trojans or Greeks, but they're reenacting it, but it's a real war. And it's being observed by two robots. One of the robots is fond of Marcel Proust's In Search of Lost Time. The other robot is fond of William Shakespeare. And as they observe this Trojan War being recreated on Mars, they're having literary discussions about Proust and Shakespeare. If that floats your boat, this is going to be a great series for you. Or not series, 2 books that are just one long book. Prompt number 5, Klaatu barada nikto. The Day the Earth Stood Still, a novel where immortality, resurrection plays a part. Again, I have seen the original black and white movie. I have not seen the remake. And the book I am choosing is The Book of Skulls by Robert Silverberg. A college student in New York City comes across some references to a cult that promises immortality to its members. But to join the cult, there must be 4 people who apply to join, but only 2 are allowed to join. And other things happen to the other 2 that is not so nice. And this book is told from 4 perspectives, one for each of the applicants. And each applicant is very different. And you have to read this book and say, okay, who's going to make it into the cult? Who's not going to make it into the cult? And this book is going to raise a question. I will not ask the question because the question itself could be a spoiler for this book. But once you finish this novel, and I think it is one of Robert Silverberg's best novels, you will ask yourself that question. And how you answer that is going to be telling a little bit about how you interpret the world. Prompt number 6, E.T. Phone Home, a novel about space travel. And I'm picking up Consider Philebus by Ian M. Banks. Now, Ian M. Banks was also known as a literary author, Ian Banks. But, sometimes literary authors also like science fiction. And so he started writing his own science fiction. But to distinguish it, he put his middle initial in. And this is the story of the culture. The culture exists in the far future where it's post-scarcity. So humans can do anything they want. They can be anything they want. They can go anywhere they want. But there are issues, and there are intelligent starships which help them along. And this is just a fabulously written book because he's a literary author. He knows how to write. He knows how to tell a story. And each of the culture novels is unique. Although considered a series, there is really it's not a lot of crossover of characters between books. There's a little bit, but nothing that's in the spoiler territory. So Consider Philebus, one of the great space operas, and that was written in 1987. Number 7, I'll Be Back, The Terminator, a novel about time travel. Again, I saw the original Terminator in the theaters. I have seen it once, maybe twice after that. So I'm going to talk about time travel. Now, people who've watched my channel know I have an issue with time travel. Time travel is a great plot device as long as the author doesn't get hung up in trying to explain how time travel works and the rules of time travel and time cops and time bureaus. I'm thinking of you, Stephen King, with your JFK assassination novel where it got totally ridiculous about time travel. So when we talk about time travel, the book I want to show is Behold the Man by Michael Moorcock. This is the story of a student named Carl Gallagher. He's studying the Bible and the life of Jesus. And it just so happens that he meets a man with a time machine. Now, Carl Gallagher has some questions about the life of Jesus. So what does he do? He takes the man's time machine and goes back in time because he wants to talk to Jesus. Things don't work out quite the way Carl Gallagher expects. This is a book that some people will consider blasphemous. But I adore blasphemy. I think this is a really great short science fiction novel. Very exciting. You also have the option of picking up the original novella, which was written in 1966. I believe the novel was published in 1969. So either one is good. I sort of have a slight preference for the novella. I think it was a little tighter written, and the novel was just expanded because you can expand it. But still, if you see this copy in a used bookstore, go ahead and grab it. You will not be sorry. And now to tag some people. I am going to tag Jim at Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. He does read some science fiction. I know he expressed some interest in the House of Suns by Alistair Reynolds. I am also tagging Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. I think MJ was going to tag him, but I didn't see it. So I want to make sure, Alan, that you're tagged and you can do this if you want to do it. I'm also going to tag Grix, etc. We sort of did a buddy read of the Foundation trilogy. I know I read all 3 books, but our communication discussing these books has not been great, although the Foundation trilogy was a good science fiction trilogy. So anyway, that is the science fiction movie BookTube tag. Thanks for watching and keep on reading.